In the previous session, we have learned how to calculate the cost of an LBM part. So in this session, we will learn the concept of design exploration and parametric optimization and how does it apply in our case. So in the previous session, we have only one orientation of the given part. That means we have not changed the angle of rotation of this part, and then we achieve the total cost and the number of parts that can be printed. So let us now perform different experiments by changing the orientation of this part on the build platform and how does it affect the total cost. So to do that, we can navigate to this tab Control, and in the subcategory we have these components which are relevant to design studies and parametric optimization. So let us use this component first called parameter study, and we can drag this onto the canvas like this. And to this parameter study, we have to link those parameters that we want to modify. For example, let's change the orientation angles. So let's use the number slider and change the minimum angle to -180 and the max to +180, the integer values, and we can use the same ones for all the rotations about X, Y and Z. So now these rotation angles, like these parameters, can be linked to the study that we just placed it on the canvas, this one. So we can just right click on the slider and then select link to the parameter setup one. And similarly for all the other parameters like this. And by changing the orientation of the part, like performing different experiments, let us have a look at the cost per part. So to do that, we have the parts here. So we can calculate the length. That means the total number of parts that could be printed by using this component list length. And then we can simply divide the total cost by the number of parts. And here we have the cost per part. So we can use this component called response, this one, and change the name to cost per part. So we can also right click on this component and link to the parameter setup. So here if we go into the parameter setup and click on this, so here we can see that these parameters are already linked. So those that go as an input are defined in the parameter section, and the one which was the response or the output was linked to the responses section. So now we have these parameters linked to the study, and let us perform some experiments. So we have this component called design exploration, and if we go inside this component, we can perform the number of experiments that we want to do. So let us perform like 20 experiments for now, and then here we can see it populates different experiments with various angles of rotation, and these are the costs that we have to calculate now. So we can click on evaluate and then it starts calculating. So before that, we can also check this option design snapshots, which would save the results in the future. So let's check this and evaluate, and here we can see that it starts evaluating the designs, and then it populates the cost for each of the design it is calculated. We can see that the experiments are performed. So now we can go to the top, and then if we click on this response cost per part, it then sorts the list in the ascending order. So here we can see that out of the experiments that we perform, this has the lowest cost. So this combination of rotation angles about X, Y and Z gives the lowest cost for printing the given part. So this is how we perform different experiments by changing the parameters. So one can also select other parameters that affects the final result or the final responses that we are interested in. So let us go one step ahead and perform the optimization.